Today, I'll be talking about different ways to buy cars using car finance. We'll be looking at the pros and cons with PCP, hire purchase and leasing. And I have a special guest coming on today, Abigail from She Talks Cars. I'll link all the details in below. Definitely go check her out. And subscribe to her channel to find out the latest reviews of cars. So, welcome to the channel, Abigail.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Can you introduce yourself? What is your background in cars and car finance?
Yes, hello everybody on the Mosh Money channel. My name's Abigail and I'm from She Talks Cars, even though there's just me. And basically I am a female motoring journalist. I do video and I like to tell people or help people finance their car or make smart money decisions when it comes to cars. I do car reviews, car news, what's going on, what's hot, what's not, and if something's a good deal or not.
And what I'll do, I'll link in all your socials down below and link into your channel. So guys, make sure you give that a subscribe. What I do want to talk about today is different options and the different ways people can actually go about buying a car and the different methods. So what would you say is the first most common method that people use to buy a car?
The most common method now is definitely PCP.
Okay, so what is PCP? Can you explain to us what it's all about?
So PCP is basically buying the car. However, you've got a different option to if you were traditionally buying the car, which is known as hire purchase. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So with PCP, what happens is you will pay a deposit towards the car, and then you essentially are buying the car, but almost renting it for that period of time. At the end of it, you can choose to pay a balloon payment, you can give the car back, you can part exchange it. But the car is yours, the V5's in your name, and obviously it's your choice what you wish to do at the end.
Definitely. So can I ask, what is the big difference then actually? Because the way I think most people think about buying a car is you go there, you buy out cash outright for whatever car it is. So what is the key difference between buying the car outright and the PCP?
Okay, well, it's quite rare for somebody to buy a brand new car outright. I know people do it, but it doesn't really make financial sense, number one. Number two is PCP can get it on brand new cars or you can get it on used cars, but you can get a brand new car on a much cheaper monthly payment than you would be able to hire purchase. Also, the balloon payment at the end is a guaranteed future value of the car. So let's say, for example, at the end of your 4-year agreement, it's a balloon payment of £8,000. Well, even if the car's worth more or less, you've only got to pay £8,000 if you want to keep it. And you don't have to keep it. You can give it back or you can also part exchange it. It's your choice.
Let's say I want to buy a brand new BMW, but I don't have 40 grand cash to buy it outright.
Yeah.
So what is my option in terms of buying it? How much roughly deposit would I have to put down? What would the monthly payments work out to be?
It depends. It
depends
on a lot of different things. Obviously, what the dealership, I'm guessing you're buying it from a dealership,
Yep.
right? So it depends on so you said it's 40 grand the car.
Let's just say 40 grand.
That's 40 grand. So it depends on what offers the dealer's got on at the minute. And it also depends on things like your credit rating, because you might not even be able to finance it.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, does that really affect it? Because obviously I know with any finance, it does a credit rating, but I would assume that loan essentially the company is giving out is based on the value of the car. So I was under the assumption that your credit rating wouldn't really matter.
No, that's wrong. And affordability. So I know, especially when you're purchasing a very high value vehicle, the affordability. Some dealerships will ask for things like bank statements to be able to prove it's affordable. Okay. That's a new thing that's come in. 10 years ago, you could get things a lot easier, but it's harder to get now. Obviously, it depends on the value of the car, but that's what matters. So many things have changed. I mean, even since I bought a car 7 years ago, that was the last hire purchase agreement I've ever done, and it's completely changed. Obviously, things are similar, but affordability, no one looked at any bank statements.
Yeah, definitely.
Just pass the credit check and be able to put some money down, that's it.
Okay, because currently I'm on a PCP, and for me personally, it makes sense because I know what the monthly payments are going to be each month. So I know how much is going out instead of paying like one big massive amount at the start. So what would you say is the sort of the pros and the cons of PCP?
I think there's a lot of pros to PCP, especially in today's climate. I mean, it's never been a better time to get a brand new car, and I never thought I'd be saying that, to be honest.
Yeah.
The pros are definitely the fact that your monthly payments are going to be less than if you're hire purchasing, one. Number two, you've got that flexibility. You can pretty much choose how long you have the agreement for, and you can also choose what you pay to a degree per month. Obviously,
what would a average agreement be? So, like, what's the minimum, what's the maximum people usually go for?
Can I be honest, Mosh?
Yeah.
I don't know, because things have changed a lot since I last got PCP. And I'm not, although I'm an advocate of PCP, it depends on which car it is, which car group it is, and the individual dealers.
So
everything, but there's no uniform answer.
So would you say it's quite flexible in terms of personal needs? In terms of the term, the usage of the car and things like that?
But of course, it's then got to work financially for the dealership.
Definitely. So obviously they have to make some money on it as well. And what would you say is the biggest cons to it then? So what's the biggest issues people have with PCP?
I think, talking from personal experience, people don't always understand that the voluntary termination part. They think that halfway through the contract, so say, for example, you've got the PCP for 4 years, which is quite common. 2 years in, you think, right, I can hand my car back now, I can voluntarily terminate it. No, you can't. You can't do it until you've actually paid half of the whole agreement.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually know that. I was under the assumption that you could just, as long as you're not in negative equity, you could probably just walk in and give the car back and cancel it.
That's different. That's different, because you could sell the car and pay.
Okay, pay it off. Okay.
So if you're in equity with the car, then obviously you're in a really good position.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to say, because at the minute the cars are not depreciating.
Yeah. So I think the key takeaway really is for the guys watching is on a PCP, whatever the monthly payment is, you just have to make sure you can afford that for the full term, whatever it may be, 3 years, 5 years, whatever that may be.
No, not necessarily. I mean, right, make sure you can afford the finance.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
And whether that's even taking out a mobile phone contract, that's not good.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Number one, always make sure you can afford.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. You think your financial circumstances are going to change? Car Finance, HP, PCP is not for you. But if you've paid, let's say your agreement's 30 grand, you've paid 15 grand of it off, then that's fine. You can give it back. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Also, when you HP or your PCP, you may find that your finance company will help you to get out of it. Not always.
Okay.
But there's a lot more flexibility there.
Am I right in saying that if you've got a PCP, are you the actual owner of the car, or is it the dealership that you got it from that owns the car, the finance company?
Okay, so the V5's in your name, of course, until you've paid something off, it's not fully yours, because it can get repossessed if you don't pay for it.
I got you. All right, so what is the next option then? So we've done PCP. What is HP then?
Okay, HP is hire purchase, which is the traditional way to buy a car.
Okay.
And there's not many reasons to do hire purchase right now, unless you're going to do, I don't know, something like a supercar or something that you're planning on keeping. A lot of people want to change the car every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
To do that if hire purchasing.
To be honest, I had a Range Rover before this and is on hire purchase. And the monthly payments I found was really, really high. And after I think I had it for 18 months. Afterwards, I thought, actually, I want to change the car. I don't want to keep it forever. So I think that's always a key thing to keep in consideration with hire purchase. So how does it work? Is it the car's total value that they break up into sections or monthly payments?
When you say value, it's whatever you're going to pay, whatever you've agreed. And that includes interest, so APR. So one thing I'm going to say to you, if you're going to hire purchase or PCP, is always look at the total cost. A lot of people don't understand that Not
Yeah, I think even for me, I just look at the monthly cost, and that's it. I don't really look at the how much interest they're charging, that sort of stuff. So I think that is important, actually.
I think interest at the end of the day, it's not something that I want to pay, but for everybody else,
Yeah,
if it's 10% and higher, that's too high. But
it is too
anything
high.
under that's okay. I think people get a bit caught up in interest, especially with higher purchase. Think, oh no, that's too much. Well, if you're happy with the total cost, does it matter if you're not bothered about paying interest?
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so are we saying, so as a summary for the pros and cons, pros would be if you want to own the car outright. So if it's like a supercar, something you want to keep for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, that's suitable. But if you want to change your car after, let's say, a couple of years, 3-4 years, that's probably not the best option to go for.
4 years could be okay. Because 4 years is fine, but your payments are going to be large. Remember, the difference between PCP and HP is you're going to pay a balloon payment to keep the car. So you're not. So the monthly payments with PCP are less, but with HP, there's no balloon at the end. So that's
that's the key difference. All right, I got you. And what would you say is the third option then? So we've done PCP, HP.
Yeah. I would say the third option is PCH, also known as leasing.
PCH. What do you know what does
personal contract hire.
Okay, personal contract hire. So how does that work then?
So basically you're renting the car and you'll pay something called an initial rental, which is just like a deposit, but obviously you're never going to keep the car. Yes.
And
popular at the minute.
Yeah, I've never really done this or come across this really. So what is like the key benefits? Because when I think about hiring a car, I'm thinking actually the car's never going to be mine anyway. So what's the point? I'm just making someone else money.
Yeah, that is what everybody says to me. I've been leasing years now. And personally, I mean, at the minute, in the current climate, it's maybe not the best thing to do unless you can find a really good deal. But pre-COVID, it was the best thing to do. So the whole thing of leasing is you are renting the car from a broker for a prescribed period. So most commonly 2 to 3 years, but you can lease longer, up to 4. Usually I have seen 5, but rare.
Yeah.
And you do X amount of miles per year or a total.
A bit like PCP, because I think I'm limited to 10,000 miles a year at the moment.
Yeah, and then after that you'll pay X amount of pence per mile as an excess mileage charge.
And when it comes to leasing then, because the thing I can't really get my head around is surely my payments would be cheaper if I go for PCP over leasing.
You'd be surprised. Not really. At the minute, in the current climate, it's a very, very strange time for cars.
Yeah.
This is not.
Yeah, I mean, it is normal inflation and everything else. And I think there's
inflation aside,
demand as well.
Yeah, it's the problem with manufacturing new cars.
Yeah, definitely.
Affecting the market in unprecedented ways. So in a normal pre-COVID or post-COVID in a few years situation, it beats the depreciation just leasing. So it's
really? I'm really shocked about that, to be honest.
Yes. So for example, you've got, let's say, a 40 grand car.
Yeah.
And your lease term is going to cost you 13 grand.
Okay, yeah.
Right? You give the car back. You're telling me that in 2 years that you won't have lost more than 13 grand because the vehicle should depreciate by 50%, let's say on average.
Yeah.
Third year.
Okay, I see what you mean. I've never thought of it like that, to be honest. That makes sense. So you're basically beating the cost of depreciation of the car.
Yes.
And then what happens at the end? Sorry, I was just saying, what happens at the end of the lease then?
So at the end of the lease, what will happen is someone will come and inspect your car and take it away. And say, for example, you've got some quite bad alloy scraping. Then they will charge you for it. They've got something called BVR-LA guidelines, which they're regulated, they will use. And basically that says what's fair, wear and tear, and what's not.
Okay, is it a bit like when you get a car from Enterprise and, a few minor scratches and stuff they let you get away with, but if it's something major, they're going to charge you for?
Yeah, I'd say that it's a lot more lenient though in ways because you're going to have a car for 3 years. So naturally, however long, from 12 months onwards. So naturally, there's going to be a lot more wear and tear than there would be if you just got a 2-day hire.
And what are the interests? Is there interest on lease, or is it just...
There's no interest on lease.
Okay.
Obviously, somewhere in the deal there might be.
Yeah, there might be.
That's not charged to me and it's not stated.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not charged to you as a customer.
So obviously, I know a lot of Muslims watch this channel as well. So for them, that would be like the perfect option where, you know, there's no interest involved. And if they want a new car, they can avoid PCP, HP, which has sort of, if you like, direct interest.
Yes.
Whereas this one, you're sort of not... well, there might be somewhere in the whole process, but you're not directly linked to it.
Yes. So I'm Muslim myself.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I lease. It's important to me. I think leasing is a really good option for people, but it's not for everybody because unlike HP, unlike PCP, you can't voluntarily terminate. So say, for example, let's say, Mosh, if you leased a car for 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years, yeah? And you thought, you know what, second year, I don't want this car anymore. It's tough because if you want to get out of that agreement, you'd have to pay either the rest of the agreement that you owe,
Oh, wow.
or
Okay.
at very best, 50% of what's left.
Oh, wow.
And they don't legally have to let you out of the contract.
Okay, so you're sort of stuck with it, really. And I mean, I don't think that's really an issue for most people that have been doing PCP, HP, leasing, whatever it may be, because, you know, I've been doing it for the last 6 years. I had HP, PCP, but I think I'll definitely start looking into leasing, actually. That sounds like a good option. And that depreciation factor, that is just sort of clicked in my head now that you said it. It makes sense.
But in the current climate, there is...
Yeah, currently everything's overinflated. Like, I mean, the price I bought my car I'm getting like a very similar price on it now. And I've put like 15, 20,000 miles on it and driven it for like a year and a bit. So it's a bit crazy at the moment. Sorry?
Do you think you're going to sell it?
Well, that's the thing. I'm really tempted to sell it because I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get this price that I'm getting right now. You know, very, very close to the price I bought it for. You know, I'm not going to get that in like a year. Well, once the whole supply demand issue is sorted out. So we'll see. But I do want a new car. And that's the thing. I mean, with PCP and HP, and I think once you start going down the car finance and leasing route, it just makes you want to have a new car every couple of years anyway.
It's bad, the addiction.
Yeah, it is. Because as I said, my intention was to keep the Range Rover for like forever, but literally after 18 months, I decided to change it. I didn't like the drive, wanted something new. So I've always been BMW. I've had BMW since 18 years old. So I'm a BMW fanboy.
Well, BMW are available on lease, PCP and HP. So...
And do main dealers offer this? Because, I mean, I've been in main dealers a lot and they've not really mentioned it to me saying, oh, you can get it on lease or this or that.
Probably don't earn as much money on it, let's be honest.
Yeah, probably.
So, not all dealers will offer it, but a lot of them do. And they'll call it PCH. Even though it's the same thing, they won't say leasing.
And is it to retail customers? Because I know businesses, they do a lot of leasing and stuff. So would they give it to like retail customers, or would I have to get it on like a business contract?
No, they do personal and business, but you may find that some main dealers will only do business. Because obviously their main line of work is just to sell cars.
Yeah. And you know, they get the commission. I'm looking at our questions, sorry.
No, it's fine. Well, some bits that I want to add on.
Yeah, go on, go for it.
Just some tips regarding the different stuff.
Yeah, because I think one of the questions I had, like, what can people do to get the best deals?
Oh, from car dealers.
Yeah. But if you want to add on tips, that's fine.
It's just about leasing.
Okay, yeah, go on.
The little tip for people.
Yeah.
So I've just got a little tip for people who are wanting to lease. So if you've traditionally come from hire purchase or PCP, you may be tempted to put quite a bit of money down because you think, oh, it makes my payments less. Just like you would with HP or PCP. You want to put down a bigger deposit so the monthly payment's less, yeah? With leasing, it works completely different. Remember, this car's never going to be yours. So you will have a small payment every month if you put $5,000 down. However, you're not going to save any money. The total cost is the same. So it's a complete false economy. Whereas you're putting money into something that's going to be yours with HP and PCP. Yeah. Things never going to. So why put $5,000 cash into something that you're renting. It doesn't make sense. So I'd always recommend 1 to 3 months to put down as initial rental, ideally 1 month. And if you're putting down 9 months, 12 months, something like that, and it can, some people are putting down 10 grand plus on a lease.
On a lease.
They're never going to get,
like the biggest issue for me, I think, would be the deposit. If I saw like I had to put like 5-6 grand down deposit for a lease, then in my head I'm thinking, hold on, this car's never going to be mine anyway. I don't own nothing about it. Why am I going to put 6 grand down? So can you do that? You can put down 1 month as a deposit basically, and then carry that on. But would that increase the monthly payments?
Right. So how it works is obviously the more you put down, the less it's going to be per month, but the total cost of the agreement's the same.
Okay.
So what I found a lot of people do is they put, let's say, 6 grand, whatever, 6 to 9 months up front, they will pay. By the way, this doesn't give you any payment holidays. You'll still be paying every month.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. All right. I got you. Yeah.
It's literally you're paying an initial rental.
Yeah.
You're renting the car for the rest of the time. What people will do is they'll put more money in, and then they'll think, oh, well, my payment's less. It's not. It's the same. And then if you adjust it to 1 month, you think, oh, no, that's too expensive. Well, then if it's too expensive, you can't afford the deal, because you shouldn't be putting your savings into a car that's never going to be yours. Okay,
so I think I got you. Let's say I was paying £500 a month over 3 years. That works out to about £18,000.
Yeah.
So you're saying if you put down £6,000 and then your monthly deposit is lower, you're still going to pay £18,000 at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, sometimes you will find that because the deal's better for the lease broker, they might reduce the cost a little bit. Not always, but I have seen somewhere if you take it out for longer, put down a bigger deposit, they might knock, I don't know, 100 quid off. But for 100 quid, I'd rather have that cash there for if I need it.
That makes sense. Okay, that's interesting actually.
Yeah.
I like that.
Out there then, Mosh.
Yeah. To be honest, I honestly, after speaking to you, I think I might consider, because I was in two minds selling my car now because of the price I'm getting, and I was thinking I was literally going to go into another PCP if I was to get a new car, but I would definitely consider leasing now because it makes sense, and I do want something new, probably an X4 or something like that, but we'll see. What car do you drive, by the way?
I've got a Range Rover Evoque.
Okay, how are you finding that?
I've had it 2 years and it's on lease, and I'm looking forward to it going back because I'm bored already.
Okay.
I would never lease a car out of the warranty, so 3 years and I'm done.
Yeah, and I think that's a cool thing about whatever car finance deal you're going for. It's just the matter of, like, that's why I didn't really like HP, because I realised 18 months into it that I'd want a new car every couple of years anyway. So I just want to continue that. So for me, the key thing that I really focus on is the monthly payments. If the monthly payments is affordable to me and it's within my range, then I'll happily go with whatever car.
Okay, well, be careful with leasing then.
Yeah. Definitely. Is there any closing comments that you want to make, or?
Yeah, closing comments is, if people can avoid getting a car at the minute, then do. And if you're looking to sell your car at the minute, and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to get a good price, just be mindful that to replace that car, you're going to be paying an inflated price. Don't walk into negative equity before you've even got going.
Yeah.
It's really important to remember.
And can you just explain to the viewers what negative equity means?
Basically, when you owe more on the finance than the car's worth, which is quite common. I think a lot of people think it's not.
It is. Because cars depreciating as we're going along anyway. I think this year a lot of people got lucky where a lot of cars have appreciated due to inflation, but
it's a false sense of security.
Yeah, it is.
Forever. So enjoy it whilst you can.
Definitely, I will. It was nice meeting you, talking to you, and hopefully we can do a couple more videos in the future. Is there any sort of links you want to tell people, like to find you or to your YouTube channel?
Cool. So I've got a YouTube channel at She Talks Cars. So if you want to look at video reviews on cars, the latest cars. There's a lot of electric cars up there at the minute. You can have a look there. Or if you're on TikTok or Instagram, you'll find content about all different types of helpful car stuff, how to save money, advice on how to buy a car.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, that's how I found you. I literally saw your TikTok. I was like, these are really good, like interesting comments, and like the way you explain it. I really like the way you explain it as well. I was like, actually, I've never thought of it like this.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm on TikTok. She Talks Cars. It's pretty much just She Talks Cars everywhere, really.
Yeah.
So come and find me if you've got any car questions.
Definitely, and I'll link all your details in below as well, so people can find you that way and go straight to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Losh.